Thank you for joining me today. This is episode 150 of 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10, which basically means, because it comes out every Monday, we are just about 3 years into this whole mix. And I want to take a look back at some of the things that I've learned from doing this. First of all, I learned that it can be very therapeutic to have your own podcast. So if you're thinking about it, do it, because I think it can be very, very therapeutic. I also believe that it's important to be sharing your thoughts, but being respectful. And sometimes I miss the mark on that. Sometimes I just share my thoughts. But I get why it's extremely important to be thoughtful of others. And so sometimes, not very often over the 150 episodes, there have been, I would say one or two only. Yeah, one or two only that have not made it to the public.
One has been begged by.
There have been a lot of other people who've asked for those episodes to hit the live wire. They won't, because they were in the moment. They were what mattered in the moment. But once you were done in the moment, you realized they really didn't matter like you thought, and it almost felt better to just say it and be done with it, and then hit stop.
It's therapy.
It's right. Yeah, it's over with, right? So that was cool. I've also learned that it's fucking hard, man, to keep up with fresh content on a weekly basis. This 150 straight Mondays, folks. 150 straight Mondays, we have put a piece of content in front of you.
The worst was when we lost MJ.
Right. The worst is when we had a few podcasts sort of in the waiting, if you will. Luckily, because I've never really done that. Luckily, I did, because when I lost, my pup, it was tough, man. To think about sitting in front of people, not in front of people. I mean, it's just me and the wife producer here. But my point was to be able to put myself out there was going to be very difficult. So had some kind of stockpiled podcast in the background. Which, again, if you're going to do this, I use. It's a notebook. It's got everything. It's everywhere we go. I'm always taking notes to try and keep content fresh. My wife, she does her part on content. Thank you so much to all of my audience who typically will shoot me shots all the time. My boy Josh from Charlotte, he loves to tell me a crazy story that I can try to, slip into what we do here. It's a lot of fun that way. And so that's been really cool. The community part of having the podcast has been awesome, but it has been a tall task to keep up with. Now, that tall task is only put on me by me. So it's not like producer, business partner, anyone else is telling me that it has to be this. But when we decided to do it, I'm going all in. It's how I roll. Right, Anthony Santangelo, all in. That's what we do. So when you do that, you realize that, hey, if I'm going to do it every Monday, I'm going to do it every Monday. I'm not going to miss a Monday, ever. I try to keep up on the Fridays. It's not always as easy, but we try to have a little fun with it. But the Mondays is what we're here for. And the coolest thing that happened out of the pandemic, silver lining for me, is that I started doing virtual interviews, which is something that I never really liked doing before, because I couldn't get the energy that I could sitting next to another human. You feed off of that. But because content became difficult, right? Not only was not a lot going on, we weren't going anywhere, but it also was a way for me to reach people that I may have never otherwise reached, right? Normally I was going to shows, which we weren't going to do anyways anymore, so it didn't matter. Normally the wife and I would go on a wonderful road trip. That part sucks. We have the upcoming season. We are doing a season 3 of the CarBiz Chronicles, so don't you worry. It's going to come out. It is going to be awesome, as always. But it will be via Zoom, which we're bummed out about. Sucks for us. But in 150 episodes, we've learned things don't always go like we hope. We had interviews set up for road trips of people who never showed up, never let us know they weren't going to be in attendance. And that kind of screws with things. But we're able to be nimble, change on the fly. That's what we do. If you're going to have a podcast, don't be too stuck in your ways. Be willing to change and sort of bring ideas up as they need to be brought up. And sometimes it's not easy. Right now in this country, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I've debated whether to put out new episodes of the show and trying to be conscious of everything. But this show has never been political, and I don't intend it to be. So I try to just stay in people's purview of positivity, I guess. Not all the time, obviously, with my show. It's not always positive. But it is a goal of mine to keep people on the up and up. I'm a fairly positive person when not pushed to my frustration breaking point, as I'm sure many of you are as it goes. So just looking back, when we switched to video, it was really funny. It was really funny because I had to put in way more effort to do this. I know that sounds crazy, but just imagine if you couldn't see me right now, it would look like this.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? All right?
Oh, where's hair and makeup?
The hair and makeup team, we don't have one.
Oh,
I mean, we don't have the budget, guys. No one, in 150 episodes, no one's ever paid to be an advertiser on this show.
I hope that's
okay?
a screen for YouTube.
Well, I mean, I hope he doesn't do that, because our business partner is also our editor, because remember, we do everything in-house. Slim margins here with zero income coming in. You got to make sure you know what you're doing, right? So, but I always get asked all the time, Sean, how did you start? We started because we wanted people to understand what we were about. And this podcast has worked more, I say it all the time. If you go back and look at episodes 1 through 3, you'll see hundreds of views on them. But each episode, there are less views and less views and less views because people started to realize, wow, this is really what this guy's going to be talking about. He's really not going to have a filter. He really is going to use a ton of cuss words. He really is going to be honest. And some people don't want to hear that shit. And I get that. I do. But that's who this show is. That's who it's always going to be. As long as it's a thing, it's going to be a show. You can't talk about 150 episodes without thanking our musical man, Fareed Haq. Thank you for all of that. Fareed has done our music for both the Chronicles and this show. If you haven't checked out his music, please go do it. My producer, my wife, thank you so much for all that you have done. Jeffrey, your editing skills are just top-notch, my man. I appreciate you. Team Bravo, bravo. Thank you to all of our supporters, everyone who comes out every week and watches the show. It means the world to me. The texts, the emails, the in-messages. It's why I do it. So please don't stop engaging. Don't stop being a part of the show, because without you, and Mom, this goes for you and all your friends, because I guess that's really the only ones who watch my show, is thank you. From the bottom of my heart to all of you, I want to thank you so much for 150 episodes. And yeah, we plan to be here for 150 more. So keep checking us out, and don't forget to tune in again next Monday. Thanks a lot.